Hello, parents and students. This is Mrs. Sauvé, and I'm going to read and show you one of the books that I wrote. It's called Quequechan, Forgotten River. Here's the cover. In this story, I use a writing technique called personification. That means that I made the river into a person, and the river is the one telling its story. I hope you enjoy it. Quequechan, Forgotten River by Jean Prévost Sauvé. Very, very old was I when the first people came to me. For thousands of years I had lived here, embracing fish, birds, plants, insects, reptiles, amphibians, and mammals in my wide, watery arms. Spread out below the clouds, I was an open invitation to the eagle for fishing, to the deer for drinking, to the countless other animals that depended on me. What's more, I was beautiful. During one sunlight long ago, I heard strange new noises, sounds unlike any ever uttered along my banks. Shouts of Nipe, Wapatuke, Hamos passed through the spring air. Bare feet dashed across my shoreline. Deft brown hands pried clams out of my sticky mud amid sounds that could only be understood as joyful. The first people of the East had found me, and with shouts of gratitude drank, washed, and delighted in me. The Wampanoag people became part of my landscape. They came during the times of sunlight, like the deer and the ducks. They pulled shiny bass and yellow perch from me with lines and spears. They splashed and carried away baskets of water. At times, dark gray smoke hung all around me, stinging the nostrils of all breathing creatures and smarting their eyes. The people were chopping and burning the insides of some enormous tree trunks. From the bodies of the largest trees, they created dugout canoes, and they floated and paddled them on me. I carried them in their canoes to friends, family, and traders. At night, a dark velvet blanket with twinkling points of light crept over me. The people yielded quietly to prowling foxes, shuffling porcupines, gliding owls, and other marvelous nocturnal creatures. Steadily, night gave way to sunlight, just as day gave way to darkness. Leaves grew gold and crimson, air turned crisp, snow fell and glistened like a million tiny diamonds, then softly melted away. Shrubs and flowers grew, were washed by rains and baked by the hot sun. Every form of life imaginable teemed around me, was born, thrived, and died as day chased night again and again. Summer surrendered to winter over and over, and yet again. During this endless cycle of day and night and seasons, there were good times and bad times. Sometimes I transported the people to wars, and they treated me harshly, staining me with blood, fire, and anger. Those were loud, dark, dangerous days. After the unhappy days went away, I recovered. Peace settled in, and I took care of the people. For years I was important. I quenched thirsts, washed wounds, and perhaps washed souls. I gave the people food and beauty, cleaned their clothes, and carried them. I was given the name Quequechan. It means falling waters in the language of the Wampanoag. I was so named because I made a stunning waterfall that tumbled 130 feet into the Taunton River. Reeds, grasses, trees, and vines drank nutrients from my banks and grew lush and strong into the whispering breeze. The lily pads, nature's cups and saucers, wanted me. Without my shiny table, they would have no place to grow. The dragonflies, quiet little airplanes, wanted me. They lived their lives soaring over me with amazing grace, doing their dragonfly deeds. The furry brown muskrats wanted me. They drank, dived, and demanded little else but this place to eat, sleep, grow, and reproduce. The sleek swimming mink wanted me. They loved my shoreline buffet of frogs, mice, and insects. Painted turtles and snapping turtles wanted to swim in my pool and sunbathe on my rock patios. I was wanted. Years later, the textile factories wanted me. All around me rose huge mill buildings full of sweating workers. People needed my muscles to turn their towering paddle wheels, so I gave them my energy to run their machines. They wanted me to remove their wastes, too. Huge chutes and pipes from the factories sent enormous amounts of rubbish sliding into me, so I absorbed chemicals, garbage, and debris into my body. I became poisoned. The civil authorities wanted me. It was easier to build highways over my openness than to wrench away trees and blast through ledges. Where I flowed in their way, they captured me and my plants and animals in dark pipes blocking out the sun. I traveled hidden under a speeding highway. The dumpers wanted me now that I had taken cover. I had become the suitable place to rid them of junk like old sofas, mattresses, and tires, free of charge. There were thousands of people living all around, but they did not want me. They were busy with their houses, roads, cars, and businesses. They wanted prosperity, paying no heed to nature, but instead to progress, forgetting the earth in favor of the man-made. People covered the soil with pavement and houses and forgot about it. They hurried in air-conditioned cars with stout panes of glass hemming them in and shields of metal blocking me out. Little did the native Wampanoag know, when naming me Falling Waters, that I would fall into pieces, later falling into oblivion. Today, though the surface of my abandoned waters shimmers in the sunlight as beautifully as it did when the first inhabitants came, very few people know what I look like. Heedless of the trash below, my birds sing as brightly and my plants flutter as greenly, though very few people know I exist. Despite man's attempt to muffle me, my scent wafts sweetly across me in various flavors from spring, summer, and autumn. But no one notices. Unseen, unimportant, unwanted for generations, I languish under the roar of the highway, the stare of the billboards, and the blank windows of the empty factories. I am a hidden, forgotten jewel that shines unseen. Maybe one day a person will slow down enough to notice me. Maybe some nearby residents will realize that they have a river. They might want to rid me of refuse, waste, litter, and loneliness. One day, under the sun's watch, someone might bring children to splash in me, laugh at my insects, and lie on the land. Maybe a grown-up will teach them. This is a lovely river. Maybe one day they'll want me. The Quequechan River, the falling waters. So that was my story called Quequechan, Forgotten River, about a real river in Fall River, Massachusetts. Did you notice how I used personification to make the river be the one talking and saying I? And there's another technique I used. I wonder if you could find it. It's called a metaphor. That's when something is compared to something else that's totally different. And I'll give you a hint. There are 3 on page 20. So see you next time. Bye.